Okay, so hello, Fred O for joining us. Not Mr. Fred O, not Dr. Fred O, just a piece of paper. Fred O.
FredO is fine. FredO is absolutely fine.
Okay, so one of our first questions we always like to ask all of our guests is what are three fun facts about yourself?
Three what now?
Three fun facts about yourself.
Oh, fun fact. I'm a simple man, and number two, obviously I love music. And number three, I'm a huge advocate for African, everything
Hmm,
intrinsically African, everything.
very nice.
Yeah.
We can tell by the hats.
Mhm.
So very nice. Our next question we always like to ask all of our guests is how did you get started in music? Was it through the church? Was it through your parents putting you a lesson? Was it through your school?
I think it's a school at first. I was a boy choir back in Ghana where I was born.
Oh,
Even
okay.
my parents were Nigerian, and but we were born in Ghana. And back in the days of Nkrumah,
Oh, okay.
music was always big.
Yeah.
Yes, so yeah, boy choir in elementary school.
Okay. And then what inspired the name FredO? I imagine was it because people couldn't pronounce your last name or was it something else?
Yeah, both. I think um, it's once I started traveling, you know,
Okay.
Fred kind of stuck, and then when I started moving westwards, you know, with the
Yeah.
difficulty, Noel was okay, that's
Mhm.
okay, totally fine, and I've become used to it.
Okay. And then what led you to settling in the US as a composer?
Um, the short answer is I got married.
Oh, I didn't know you married. Very nice.
Yeah, I came here and for graduate program, and uh, within that period was sharing music here and there, mostly choral and a few chamber music. And before I knew it, an organization started, and so I stayed. That was 31 years ago.
Oh, okay. Very nice. And during your travels, because you mentioned how earlier you traveled to a lot of African countries, was there a specific country that heavily influenced your work?
Uh, I love it all, really. I love it all because each area, each region, and of course, yeah. I don't like using countries much because it's more effective to say regions or area
Okay.
have its own unique way. My first travel was through about 13 different countries. All within 6 weeks with two pairs of clothes, a pair of jeans, and a pair of t-shirts, and that like Mauritania, Senegal, Gambia, Guinea, Mali, then Ghana again, and Nigeria, uh, Chad. Um, so yeah. They're all unique. Then later, travel around East Africa, spent time in Kenya, in Ethiopia, and Yared Music School, one of the oldest music schools in Africa, is in Ethiopia, actually. Then later in the Congo, spent some incredible moment with pygmies. They
Yeah.
don't like to use the word pygmy, but that's what the books refer to them. Spend about 10 days, turned out to be very definitive in my career. Then Southern Africa, Namibia, Botswana, South Africa. So yeah, I've moved around quite a bit in at least
Oh, okay.
about 40 different countries.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
And then one of our next questions is one thing I've seen a lot in music is Nigeria is a very religious country, kind of split between Muslims and Christians. But I wonder if your compositions have been influenced by any of that religion. And then, actually, that's the first question. The second question I'll ask later.
Uh, you see, people who know me, um, they kind of in two camps. There's one camp in Africa among some of our folks that tend to be too more Christian than the West or more Muslim than the Middle East, that I'm anti-religion. I'm not anti-religion. I'm an incredibly spiritual being. But this is where I draw the line about religion. My concept of God is a God that looks like me, like my father, like my ancestors. My concept of angels are angels that look like me, like my father, like my brothers and sisters. And that's something my father taught me early days. My father used to say true religion has the shape of L, the vertical relationship with God, and your horizontal relationship with your fellow human being. If you cannot manage those two, it don't matter what you practice, Christian, whatever. So short answer is, yes, religion, denominational rituals affect my music, but it's not exclusively Christian and it's not exclusively Islam. In fact, if I use religion at all, I am a big proponent of our traditional practices, the music you hear in the Shogbo market, Ile-Ife market, Lagos market, fishermen music, rituals, marriage ceremonies. Those are the kind of music that influenced me the most.
Oh, okay. Very, very nice. And then could you speak more about the work that the Intercultural Music Initiative done? So for those that don't know, FredO runs an organization that essentially they create opportunities for lesser known composers to have their works performed. So if you could just speak more about that.
Intercultural music started as African chorus. When I came to America, there was very little positive news about African culture. In fact, there was very little positive news about African American culture too. So we started African chorus first of all to encourage people to sing in different African languages. So using my experience from all over Africa. So in the early days, 1993, 94, we started sharing songs from Senegal, from South Africa, from Nigeria, Ghana, all over Kenya and all that, But as the program grew, we started from actually when we premiered, we gave the US premiere of Aki and Yuba's opera, Shaka in Two Chants, an opera in two chants. That was back in 2000. From then on, the interest became wider for us to cover other genres of music. So it became intercultural, eventually became Intercultural Music Initiative since then. So yeah, we created this organization to give a platform to Black and brown composers, particularly from Africa and the Caribbean and things like that.
Oh, wait, you have Shaka, the sheet music?
I do have the track. I have a big score, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm. There are a bunch of things that Baba Yuba entrusted to us to republish, and but all of these things, they take money. I have Shaka is one of them, and his songs is another thing he authorized us to republish, and a bunch of chamber music, which we have that we've not had time to release yet.
Oh, I met one of the performers at my school, Daniel T. Washington. He sang.
Ah, yes, yes,
He
indeed.
sang, and I tried looking for the. I tried seeing how I could purchase Chaka because it's a really cool piece. But
There is a CD available on our site.
oh, I was trying to purchase the written music. But I was like, because I was asking Professor Washington, how did you find? And he's like, oh, I was invited to perform, and I was like,
Mm,
what?
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all uh, handwritten.
Oh my.
And so one of our project was to engrave, renotate and engrave, but that will be done in the nearest future.
Okay. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
but the CD, uh, it's available. You can still, yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
Well, really quickly, I want to just jump to some like questions that people put out on the RTB form. So, Gabriel, I see that you're here. One of the questions you asked in the RCB form was, what do you do when your creative block sets in? Are, are you
Um,
are you there, Gabriel?
Hello, Gabriel. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay,
What's
cool,
your
cool.
question?
Are you there, Gabriel?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
Oh,
Can you hear me?
yeah. I just want to make sure your question was correct, right? You were asking, what do you do when your
Yeah, yeah,
creative what do you do when your
yeah,
creative block sets in?
yeah. That's good.
Oh, that's a question for me.
Yeah, these are all directed
Oh,
to you.
well, I I shut out basically. Um, I write, I guess, in two different scenarios, and that usually depends on the work uh, I'm composing. So every artist, whether it's composer, visual artist, always experience moments, interactions with the great unknown, beyond and all that, So second scenario is that sometimes I just am asked to write things, could you do this following these specifications, But in either scenario, whether I'm being inspired to do something or I'm asked to do something, it's always important to create your creative space where you are undisturbed. And so that's what I do. I block out and do what needs to be done.
Does that answer your question, Gabriel?
Um, well, not really. So what I mean by creative block is that you are asked to write something, and then you are just at that moment when nothing is coming. You have no idea. You are like you're blank.
Ah, okay. Okay, I get you. Well, as in all things, and that goes for writing, that goes for the visual arts. You start with pen on paper, no matter how blocked out you are, the moment you start, you heard a phrase, a journey of a million miles begins with the first step, so
Yes.
no matter how blocked out you are, you got to start. You start somewhere and come back tomorrow, continue. Come back the next day, continue. You'll be amazed. But never, never allow yourself to be blocked out. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Cool. I think we can move to the next question. I don't see Ogunji here, but I will just ask their question. So they were asking, as a young composer, how can I develop myself?
As a young composer, you have a huge responsibility to listen. You know, um, we're grateful to mentor several projects around Africa, and that's usually the advice we give. That, see, don't write a piece of music expecting to be better than Mozart or Beethoven, because no matter how well you try to imitate Mozart, Handel, Beethoven, Poulenc, no matter how well you try to imitate Brahms, listen, you will never be better than these people over here. Did you hear what I just said? Never, capital Never, never be better than these people here. Now, the beautiful thing with the West and the developed civilized world, including China, the beautiful thing with the civilized world is that people want to hear something new. Do you understand? They want to hear something unique. That is where you as an African come in. And what is unique about us, Africa, is around us. It's not in the churches. It's not in the mosques. It's in the marketplace. The music is right there at different naming ceremonies. Egungun festival, since I'm talking to Nigerians. Eyo, like right now, the Chekiri, the Olu of Warri has just been crowned recently in August. And how many composers went to see the rituals, the music that's been performed for 90 days, ritual and intrinsically African music for perform almost every day, the Shakiri. How many of us were even inspired? So that's why you see young composers in Africa, especially in Nigeria, we have a huge responsibility. The responsibility to listen. And it's all around us. It's all around us. You just have to take a moment to step out and just listen.
Does anyone have any responses to that? I don't know. I just want to just jump. If anyone wants to respond to that, please just go ahead. All right. One of the next questions we had was from Mr. Wande. He was asking, one, what was your first experience living Africa for the United States? And then two, I guess it's a little bit different from the first question I asked, but what would your advice be for a young musician in the 21st century?
Living Africa was not a huge problem for me. I had a very difficult childhood, difficult in the sense that my father died in Ghana, and his siblings were extremely greedy people, and they kind of took everything away from my mother. And so the early days we came back to Nigeria, from the early days, I struggled, we were raised kind of, comfortable in Ghana, but when my father's people took everything away from my mother, we had to start all over in Nigeria. For 6 years after primary school, there was no money to send me to school. I had to work at the age of 12, 13, But right from there, I share that in the sense that from about 13, I started traveling away from home. You know, from Warri, I went to FredO Government College in the old Benue State area. And then from Benue State, I eventually was at University of Ife, now Bafemile Awolowo University. The point I'm trying to make is that from about age 13, I've enjoyed traveling. Even when my father was alive in Ghana, I always enjoyed traveling. So coming to America was just part of that. You know, I've always loved traveling. There was no difference for me when I came to America. Second part of the question is young composers. Young composers, you have a huge responsibility to listen. Listen, the music is all around you. Just listen to the children play. You know, the music is right there. You know, so when you all go, we go to these wonderful churches. What the Lord has done for me, I cannot tell it. That's a life of 1-4-5-1. You know, tonic. You move to subdominant, come to dominant, and then you back to one. That's a life of just 4 chords. You know, that's a universe of just 4 chords. But you just need to listen to, okay, I'm talking to Nigerians. Just listen to people like Salami. You know, he plays the one fiddle, you know. Listen to people like Haruna Ishola. You know, if you're in Yoruba, listen to Haruna Ishola. Your music is right there. You know, listen to, if you're from the north, listen to Dan Maraya. Yes. You see, if you're from the north, listen to Mama and Shata, Mama Alhaji, Mama and Shata. So your music is right there. Salawa Beni, you know, and the greatest for me, the greatest of all, Fela Anikulapo Kuti. Folks, your music is around you, but you have to step out and listen and embrace it and find ways to use it. Now, when you use it over in the civilized world, they will listen and they say, wow, this is different. They want it to be different. Do you understand? They want the music to be different. They don't want your music to sound like they are Mozart. We can never do it better than that. So listen and come up with something different. Hope that helps.
Does that answer your question, Mr. Wande?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay, great. Handel isn't here, but I'll ask his question. Hopefully, Handel, if you're not here, just check out this video. But he was asking, do you have any unaccompanied solo violin works?
Yes, there is the solo violin piece that you're in Chicago, Rachel Barton Pine.
Yeah.
It's a very well known. And
Oh, yeah.
there's a solo piece she encores, she uses as encores as most of her concert. There's a 6 variations for solo violin. Yes.
Oh, do you know what the piece is called by chance?
I just 6 variations.
Oh, okay.
For solo violin.
Okay, such a technical name.
Mm-hmm. Actually, you know, it's also a piano and violin version. Talking about technicality, the original name is 6.5 variations for solo violin.
Okay.
6.5 variations for solo violin.
Okay. Let's see. Our last question. I don't know. Yeah, they're not here, but they were asking, how do you strike a balance between performing and composing bearing in mind that both require a great amount of time?
I mean, personally, I don't do a lot of performing these days. I just basically compose and manage. But in answer to the question is everything demands time. You know, if you performer as well as a composer, then you just have to find the time demanded by either. But it's very, very difficult to do both, you know, because you exploit in almost the same part of your brain, you know. But some people can do it, some cannot, you know.
Okay. I would say, did that answer your question, but they're not here. So for now, we'll have to settle on that. Really quickly, before we kind of conclude, for those, I recognize a couple names here, but does anyone have any questions? So this is just kind of open for anyone to ask any questions they may have. All right. If no one has any questions, I'm such an awkward person. But if no one has any questions, I think we can conclude. Most of our sessions has either been between like 30 minutes to 40 minutes. So this
Okay.
would just be around like the timeline, but I'm gonna just count down from 10. So 10, 9.
No, well, if anybody has questions later, they watch the video and they have follow-up questions, they're welcome to send me an email. They can send you an email, you can forward them to me.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to respond.
And again, this will be posted on our YouTube channel in less than 24 hours.
Sounds good.
Yeah. All right, everyone. Have a super great day. I will see you all.
Thank you, Dr. O, Dr. FredO. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. You all have a good day.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thanks again for joining.
You bet. You take care. Bye-bye.
Yep.